Hugh Hewitt, would this have happened without Donald Trump? Is that a question that will be extraordinarily difficult for those senators to answer?
I don't think so, Chuck. I think that they will be answering the question of whether or not to convict on the basis of their vote yesterday. That which was unconstitutional on Tuesday cannot become unconstitutional. Can become constitutional on Wednesday. But I have been watching this unbroken.
I mean, they didn't decree it unconstitutional, though, as Jamie Raskin pointed out.
They would have to change their mind that those 44 Republicans would have to go from viewing it as unconstitutional yesterday to viewing it constitutional today if they were to vote to convict. This was very harrowing, Chuck, and I believe all of our professionalism is tested by that. I don't take a second seat to anyone in admiration and friendship with Mitt Romney. You'll see over my shoulder in my studio, I've got my Mitt 12 license plate. I edited his book, No Apology, when he ran for president in 2012. I urged him to run in 2016. I wrote a biography about him in 2006, so that was harrowing. He's a friend. His family is friends. Mike Pence is a friend. Chris Coons is a friend. So it's very harrowing. But the professionalism has to kick in at some point where a lawyer has to remind people this is why we do not allow victims to be jurors. This is why we do not allow participants to be analysts in trials. And it's why in every other trial, Jonathan is right, this is not a legal trial, it's a political proceeding, but it's governed by the Constitution. It's why in every other trial you do not get evidence presented without cross-examination and objection. Now, the legal question you lay out, would this have happened, intimates the coming question about a case called Brandenburg, which holds you can only be convicted for incitement if you have the present intention and the present ability of calling it. And if Donald Trump intended for 15,000 people to go to the Hill, he did a very bad job of it as only 800 people broke in. Those 800 people are convicted, in my mind, beyond a reasonable doubt tonight on the basis of the evidence I've seen. But it will not be due process to them if when they are tried, their lawyer does not get to object, stand up, and talk to each witness that presents, as we are presenting right now, about their bias, their fear, their emotional connection, like mine is to Governor Romney, or Casey's is to Governor Romney. This is very difficult for people to step back from, but what Jonathan Turley has been trying to do, what Judge Luttig did, what I think all of the best arguments that have been made have persuaded and ought to persuade, it is an unconstitutional proceeding. So no matter how emotional people are tonight and how upset they are that indeed it came, Chris Coons is a pretty good friend of mine. And I see he is very, very upset tonight. And Governor Romney...
But Hugh, you keep calling this an unconstitutional process. It is not. I mean, it is not an unconstitutional process. Look, the Senate made that decision. It is not an unconstitutional process. Maybe it'll end up, if you want to take it to the Supreme Court, perhaps they could make that decision as well. But right now, in the way the Constitution governs this, the Senate has all the power to try, and they have made the decision to call it constitutional. I don't mean to pick on you here, but it is not unconstitutional. You may believe that's true. The fact of the matter is it's constitutional.
And many unconstitutional proceedings go forward and are only seen in retrospect to being constitutional. So for 25 years, I've been teaching the impeachment cases. And when Richard Nixon resigned, there was no attempt to impeach and try him afterwards, because until very recently, it was widely understood that the impeachment conviction trial, as Judge Luttig, who was runner-up to Chief Justice Roberts to become the Chief Justice, wrote in the Washington Post, it's unconstitutional. Now, there's a difference of opinion, but that they are proceeding does not in any way, shape, or form change the underlying nature of the debate. And that's a legal debate that will go on for centuries. But I'm saying the 44 who said yesterday it's unconstitutional cannot change their mind legitimately tomorrow and say, the video, which upset me, made me change my understanding of the Constitution. Or they would rightly be deemed to have a less than good grip on what the Constitution says.
Well, I would make an argument. This is not a court case. This is about deciding whether Donald Trump, whether he should be given the privilege of being able to have the responsibility of the presidency ever again, given how he acted in office in this moment. So in some ways, there is no normal court of law here that we're talking about. This isn't about a criminal trial. This really is about a political decision about whether he should have the keys to the car ever again.
Well, that I can't disagree. That is a political decision. I am just saying that 44 Republicans yesterday said it should not be a political decision. I don't think they're going to change their mind.
You may be right about that. Jonathan Capehart, Hugh Hewitt, thank you both.